So whenever I hear people talking about the Curse of the Evil Fish, I always hear them compare it to books like the Odyssey, and how it's very hard to understand because it's so philosophical. And basically that is because the author, back like hundreds of years ago, he was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a great book that is going to be so philosophical and so amazing. Which is why it says, like, right here, Old York Times. It's not New York Times because New York obviously didn't exist back then. That's where, actually, New York stole from Old York Times. Anywho, I'm getting off track. Sorry. So, basically, you can see around the top, around the title, it says, like, The Curse of the Evil Fish. And it's, you can see around the title, it is like the curse of the evil fish, and you see it's drooping, it's like drooping ooze because it's like the curse. It's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the curse. I don't know where Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came from, sorry. That was like 500 years after this book was written. You can see that the evil fish is surrounded by flames. It's just one of his evil acts. It's like, you darn evildoer, and it's like, ah! Next to him, you can see the evil root beer, probably one of the best villains in history of literature. I'm just saying, he is an awesome villain, and you should, like, honestly, most places, you should take note. Honestly, other companies should take notes about how great villains are, because they're nothing compared to this guy. We'll explore more of this in later novels, of course, because there's, like, what, 900 of these? Probably way less than that. I don't know. I didn't count. Let's get on to the book. So, first page. You can obviously see it's very confusing because it's bled over. This little Birdman drawing over here. It kind of bled over onto this page, which I'm sorry, but I'm going to explain it so you don't really need to look at any of the illustrations or anything. So basically, it goes on into detail about the Society of the Root Beer, and the Society of the Root Beer was this society. They basically bring power to all the universe. Basically, the prequel and the prequel of this book goes more into depth, but this is the first book, so of course it doesn't go into depth. It's no character development or anything. It's just introducing the characters mostly. Basically, the Society of the Root Beer, they get mad at each other and send the evil root beers down to Earth, and you can't find the evil root beers now because they're gone. And this is like 30 years later, this next panel, so let's go into it. So one day a fish was walking down the street when suddenly he needed to use the restroom. So he used the restroom, but it was a porta potty, and everyone knows if you go into a porta potty, there's always going to be an evil root beer in there. So this is the evil root beer. One drop of evil root beer turns the nicest man into the evilest man. Obviously, this is just simple root beer anatomy. And basically, once it touched the fish's head, he turned evil, and this was the beginning of the evil root beer's plan to overthrow the Society of the Root Beer and bring balance to the universe once more. Alright, so the next panel, it goes into detail about how this one evildoer, his name is Dr. Yolks, and he turned good. He was evil, and he turned good by the good root beer, and then the good root beer went back into space because everyone knows all root beers live in space besides the evil root beer, because he got banished from the Society of the Root Beer. I'm surprised you guys don't know this right now. Alright, then we go into the Fight Club. So the Fight Club is basically where all sorts of fights. This specific fight is a rock, paper, scissors fight without the scissors. So it's just paper versus rock. So the rock just starts to advance onto the paper, and then the paper jumps up and lands on his head, so like that. And basically what that did was that turned the paper into like a prime target for the root beer. Like, they were like, oh, I want that guy to join our evil squad. So they converted they converted the paper to the evil paper, and then the evil fish was not okay with that. He was not okay with that. He was like, this is just a measly little piece of paper. He can't be an evil mastermind at all. But as everyone knows, fishes can't talk. So he just like just got mad, and no one knew what he was mad about. Anywho, this is Egg Inc., the factory that the egg bots were made at. So the egg bots, their only goal is to find the evil root beers, the 4 evil root beers. Again, we'll go more in depth in the later issues. But there are 4 evil root beers going down to Earth, and the egg bots, their one goal is to find all of them. So Dr. Yolks sends all the egg bots out into the world so they can find the evil root beers. Next chapter is Rainforest Shipping Co. Now, of course, this is like, I'm pretty sure Amazon stole the idea of rainforest themed shipping from this book, but we're not going to talk about that. They go into it and they're like, okay, fish, you wait out here, be a lookout for us while we go rob this shipping company. And basically, while the fish is waiting outside, one of the egg bots is hovering over the Rainforest Shipping Co. and then spots the fish. They spot the fish. So he goes down and he kidnaps the fish right here. And then he flies over to Egg Incorporated. So at Egg Incorporated, Dr. Yolks confronts the evil fish and then pulls a lever, and then the evil fish falls down into a pit into the blob. Now, this blob can basically, let me explain the backstory for this blob. The blob is like poison for some, but for the special chosen one, the fish, is actually superpower juice, because that is how it works. So on the next page, you can see that the blob is suffocating the fish, but then he realized, wait, I can talk now? He's like, where am I? I am the blob. I am the path between you and the rest of your journey. And then he chooses the fish. Now, the fish is the chosen one. And then he talks about the prophecy, and he says, the prophecy states that the society will disband, and then 30 years later, an evil fish will bring back peace to the universe. So that's the prophecy. I don't know how the fish didn't know the prophecy. Everyone does. So anyway, the book ends. Fish can talk now. He's in the blob, and he might come out. He might not. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see in the next issue of The Curse of the Evil Fish.